and get a little too carried away during the offseason. And every year, everybody's like, this is the hardest schedule. This is the easiest schedule. And I never understand that based on last year's winning percentage. Teams aren't the same. They get new coaches. They get new coordinators. They get new players during the draft and free agency. I never understand taking last year's winning percentages and then going, okay, that's the Steelers had the toughest schedule. I looked at the Steelers schedule. It's not the toughest schedule. I don't even think it's top 5. I'll give you 2 examples of what I consider easy schedules. And these are both really talented teams. These are easy schedules. And both these teams have an over-under 9.5 wins. Let's take New England. So what does Bill Belichick feast on? Young quarterbacks. Bill Belichick in his career in New England, 80% wins against quarterbacks in their first or second year. Go look at their schedule. They face 6 quarterbacks in their first or second year. Tua in the opener, then Zach Wilson. A few weeks later, Zach Wilson, Justin Herbert. End of the year, Trevor Lawrence, Tua. You can put down 6-0 or 5-1 there. Also, 6 other quarterbacks. Belichick's been running the same defensive system forever. He's got it down in stone. 6 other quarterbacks who have either a new coach or a new system. The Saints, Houston, Carolina, Atlanta, Tennessee, and the Colts with Wentz. So those guys aren't new quarterbacks, although Belichick has owned a few of them. What they are, though, they got a brand new system. So 12 of the 17 games, edge Belichick. Here's another thing. Belichick's best coach ever. 6 games this year against first-time head coaches. Huge edge Belichick. Those are games coaching can win. He's looking at that. Young quarterbacks, first-time head coaches. Folks, that is a favorable schedule for New England. 9.5, I'll take the over. What was the other schedule I was really interested in? Cleveland. I thought Cleveland got a scheduling break. Now, Cleveland has to face Kansas City in Arrowhead week 1. No, that's the worst team to play in the NFL week 1. Andy Reid off a bye, Andy Reid in September. They're going to lose that. But if you look at the way, because Cleveland has New England on the schedule, Green Bay on the schedule, a tough division, Kansas City on the schedule. So it could have been brutal. It's not. It works in Cleveland's favor. So take the Kansas City game out 0-1. I said they have 8 new defensive starters or 9, right? They need a soft open to get those guys ready. Well, after Kansas City, dysfunctional Houston and Chicago and Andy Dalton. Then Minnesota rebuilding. Then a rookie head coach, Brandon Staley. Then they get Arizona, Denver at home. And Pittsburgh at home. So after Kansas City, 5 of their next 7 are at home. Don't have to travel. Don't have to lose any time there. And a lot of these are dysfunctional offenses. At the end of the year, we said they play back-to-back Ravens, but they get a break there. They get at Baltimore by Baltimore. But Baltimore doesn't get a bye in the second game. They face the Steelers before that second Browns game. Big edge Cleveland. Also the Raiders. We said the Raiders are much tougher to face in September and early October. They've been a giant killer. They beat the Saints last year. They beat the Chiefs. But they have died because they don't have the depth. They've died post-Thanksgiving. They get the Raiders later in the year. So I look at that and I think to myself, yeah, Kansas City is just everybody. Kansas City would beat everybody, including Tampa Bay, in a rematch of the Super Bowl with that rebuilt O-line. Kansas City, week 1 in Arrowhead, you don't want any part of that. After that, it's home games, young coaches. End of the year, they get a break and a bye with Baltimore. They get the Raiders later than early. And by the way, they also get Big Ben week 17. Big Ben's an older quarterback. They're not as good late as they are early, especially for a guy who's never, manicured his body like Tom Brady. So I thought New England and Cleveland are 9.5 win over-under bets. I like the over on both. I thought they both got a scheduling break. That's how I rate schedules. All right, so here's the other story yesterday that made news, and I think we're kind of, sometimes everybody talks about hot takes. I always say I'm a wet blanket. I always feel like I'm always like, settle down. So let me do a settle down here. Green Bay signs a 1-year deal with Blake Bortles. Settle down. That's an indictment of Jordan Love. That's all that is. That's telling you Aaron's older. He's 37. He's been hurt more than once. They're just telling you Jordan Love's not ready. That's not telling you Aaron Rodgers is leaving. The Packers only carry 2 quarterbacks right now. They need a third. Aaron's older. He gets hurt. That doesn't tell you Aaron Rodgers is leaving. It's tell you Jordan Love, we don't think right now, is as good as Blake Bortles. That's the issue. By the way, yesterday, John Kuhn, former fullback for the Packers, came out and reiterated Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay is fixable. Why is that noteworthy? Because John and Aaron are boys. And that is the third close friend / ally of Aaron Rodgers. James Jones, John Kuhn, A.J. Hawk on this show have all used the word fixable. You think it's a coincidence? They're talking to Aaron. Also, the Packers' schedule came out. 5 primetime games and 6 afternoon games equals 11 total national TV games more than Dallas. Leagues always know what's up. Remember when James Harden and the Rockets weren't scheduled for Christmas? The league knew he's getting traded. Fertitta talks to Silver. He's getting traded. The league knows something here. They got a sense that Aaron's not going anywhere. Listen, Aaron is trapped. And I'm more of a rip the Band-Aid off guy. If somebody doesn't want to be with me, girl, quarterback, I'm out. There's a sea of people. But Aaron's trapped. Green Bay owns his rights for 3 years. Where's he going to go? I'm going to retire. All right, go to Jeopardy. You got to stay out for 3 years. Also, trading Aaron Rodgers would be a wildly splashy move. If I say to you, what's the opposite of splashy in the NFL? You would say, Packers. There's no incentive to trade him because you can't get anything in return. What's Denver going to give you, Teddy Bridgewater? So the Green Bay roster is a collection of some veteran players who are very expensive. It's not a rebuild. You got contracts, guys you got to pay. It is not a rebuild. There's no incentive to trade him. You have his rights. You've been to back-to-back NFC championships. 3 of Aaron's friends are all using the exact word.